Hey, good people. Welcome to Peep Game TV Presents, another episode of Live at 5. I'm your man SRD. Our mission and our intentions is to uplift fallen humanity. One person, one family, one neighborhood, one city, one state at a time. And we also here to expand your mind and hopefully get you to look at things in a manner that you haven't looked at them before. It's important for us to think out of the box, to make our thought pattern more well rounded, where we are able to see other than the things that we've been told, we've been taught, that we believe, that we learned, because far too often, many of us get caught up in our belief system and won't allow any other information to infiltrate our mind. Therefore, we are not able to progress in the manner that we are capable of doing. And that, I say, is a travesty because if we're not able to open ourselves up to new or better or more productive information, then we find ourselves at a disadvantage when it comes to productive information being introduced to us, such as us being able to formulate or restructure or bring back our own government. Many of you, it seems that this is a difficult concept for you to grasp because you've gotten so used to uh, being able to so-called rely on the United States government in America. And you've gotten used to waiting for what you want rather than being a vehicle of putting together something that can bring you what you want and also change our social conditions. Our social conditions are being affected as well because ultimately, if we continue to hold on to old beliefs, such as a lot of us have religious beliefs, and our religious beliefs won't allow us to participate in government. And when you think about that, it's like, okay, in the religion it says you give Caesar what is due to Caesar, but you don't be a part of what Caesar is doing that causing you to have to give to Caesar. And if you really think about that, it's like, okay, you pay your taxes, but you're not going to be a part of putting something together that you can know where your taxes are going or how your taxes can benefit your community because you're not allowed to participate in government. Think about that. Just think about that concept and think about how much sense it makes. I mean, there are other things that we have a tendency to believe in, and then the concept don't fit in, you know? So, for instance, look at many of us as Black people. We have a tendency to say that we're being discriminated against as Black people. However, when it comes to Black and white, you can read the definitions, and the definitions tell you the difference between the way a person supposedly be looked upon if they're Black compared to what a person is looked upon if they're white. And the difference is basically night and day. One is considered devious, corruptible. The other one is considered pure as the driven snow, you know? So that is a problem. And besides that, as people, black people, we complain about being discriminated against based on our skin color. But yet we continue to claim a color as our as our representation, as our nationality. And for what? I mean, why do we continue to call ourselves something that is being exploited? You know, I was looking at BET last night, and you know, our culture is rap music or entertainment per se. Is our culture is has been reduced down to entertainment. Now, it our culture doesn't show us working together or running businesses or running government. That's a part of our culture as well. We've allowed ourselves to be limited through America and the United States government to tell us what our culture is. And our culture is what we make it, not what somebody gets to pick and tell us what our culture is, not being exploited or being used to pay, used to get our people to spend money with other people and the money never comes back to our community. That's not our culture. That's some brainwashing nonsense that we continue to buy into because, as I said earlier, we, many of us, haven't opened our minds. We haven't expanded our minds to get past what it is that we believe, or what it is that we've been taught, or what it is that has been programmed in our minds. This is the purpose of expanding your mind to look beyond what you see, what you hear, and sometimes even what you read. However, it's time for us as a people, as a nation of people, to begin to make make moves that will allow us to start peeping the game that has been played on us. We have been played like a fiddle, like some type of instrument where as a people, many of us do exactly what is expected of us when it comes to this American society. However, when it comes to us dealing with us, that's where we had a problem at. That's where we bicker. That's where we backbite. That's where we deal with all types of other issues that causes us to, be at a disadvantage. And here I am, you know, taking time out of my day each and every day, which I'm gonna have to rethink because it's it's a job that the reward for me is you guys really getting to see and really being able to work with me and we work together to rectify the issues that are in our community. Because ultimately, all that is wrong in our community, half of it is based on being indoctrinated, and the other half is based on us being comfortable with the indoctrination. So how do we get past that? Especially when the top entertainment, when the top echelons of the people are promoting black as black is, you know, puts us in a hierarchy. And when you look at it, I mean, just think about it. I mean, it's not that difficult to think about. You're looking at calling yourself black. You're supposed to be an American, but anytime you feel the need or the desire to call yourself other than an American, then there's something that you need to think about. You need to reevaluate. You need to reevaluate that, okay, if I'm an American, why don't I call myself an American? Why do I feel the need to call myself black or African American when I address myself? That alone, I would think, would be enough for us as a people to start opening our eyes and considering other options. And our best option is for us to do what I've been speaking about, you know, to put together our own government and put our laws that will protect us, help us, and elevate us. What do you think has been most difficult thing for us? A lot of it has been laws. A lot of it has been we have been unable to do certain things when it comes to us progressing because of laws. How many times have you either heard or you either said, let black people eh, get a hold of it, then the government gonna change. If it's something working good, seems like for other people, soon as the so-called black people get involved, it changes or they put different stipulations on it. So if that's the case, then what is your option? What is your option? Keep going and voting, keep hoping and marching and protesting. I mean, come on, people. Let's be real. Let's be real with ourselves. Let's really get to understand that no, let's understand and overstand that what we are dealing with is a system that was put here to do exactly what it's doing. Any disenfranchises that you or I may feel is done purposely. And that's something that we need to begin to accept that no matter how much we push, how much we complain, there's never the intentions of America nor the United States government to make it an equal playing field when it comes to the Europeans and those of us with the copper color skin, you know? And it's really when we look at it, it's okay. It's okay because our peace and friendship treaties gives us, as it says, peace and friendship, amity and commerce, where we work towards gaining something rather than always having to give. Like at some point, it's time for us to realize that we need to have our own. And Most times people talk about, oh, we did have our own. We had Black Wall Street, you know, we had Seneca Village, but these things were taken from Black people. See, we got to look at Moors versus Black people. As Moors, there's doors that we can open. There's doors that we don't need to get permission to formulate our own government as Moors, as Moroccan Moors. But as Black people, we do. As Moors, we don't need to go to the Board of Education and ask them to make changes in the schools for our children. But as Black people, we do. So we as a people need to be able to understand these things, to be able to look beyond what it is that we are actually, dealing with. When we really look at what we're dealing with, and we look at our surroundings, and we look at conversations that many of you may be comfortable with, you know, what are conversations that many of you are comfortable with? Talking about sports, talking about okay, BET last night, and how a lot of our young sisters, are displaying their bodies like okay, like back in the day where you talk about we talk about the slaves and they put them on the market, and then now they get up on the stage and they showing themselves for what? For money. And now it's the same type of mentality, whether we realize it or not, because if you talk about a slave hierarchy, it was about revenue more so. It was about one people profiting off of another people. And has that really changed? Has that really changed for us? Are we profiting, or is the descendants of the so-called master profiting off of us? Let's look at it from that point. When you're looking at the music business, when you're looking at Hollywood, you know what I mean? When you're looking at this entertainment, when you're looking at sports, all the things that many of our people excel at, we're still not in a power position when it comes to the contract that we are able to do what it is that we want to do when it comes to helping us. It's fine as long as you're spending your money on chains, cars, and houses and boats and planes. It's fine then. But let you start spending your money on putting together a media site, start buying property for to make low income houses for your community. Let you start doing that. You athletes, you entertainers, you rappers and singers, start doing that and see how quick America and its government comes after you, or put put some type of crucifixion, start crucifying you by putting a bunch of rumors out about you, or some of it may be true. But until you start doing something that's going to help your people or help your community, you're fine. You know what I mean? As long as you are blowing the money and putting the money back in the hands of America, society, and its government, you're not a threat. But soon as you start putting that money to some good use that's going to benefit your society and carbonated people, then they don't. Then they come at you. So what do you want to do? You want to continue to be in this tug of war when it comes to not being truly protected? Because as black people, what black flag do you own? There's no black flags. There's no state, no country called black. There's no state, no country called African American. So what do you do? How do you work through it? How do you get through it? You know? So my thing is we as a people have an obligation to each other, have an obligation to move beyond where we are now to a better situation as a whole. And how do we do that? We already know how to do it because I've been talking about it enough that we know. So tell me this, people. Why is it so difficult for those of you who want to make a change to begin with changing how you identify yourself? Why is it so difficult to do that? First, before you do anything that's going to be worthwhile, the need is to change how you see yourself. And if you continue seeing yourselves as black people, then you continue putting yourself at a disadvantage. You continue to accept that the way America is the way America needs to stay. And for me, America is not doing enough and it hasn't done enough for us as a people. Sure, I've been okay for myself. I've made out all right. I mean, I'm no millionaire, but I sustain a comfortable living. So is it about comfort or is it about growth? Do we want to grow and become the best we can be as human beings, as individuals, as a community, as a nation of people? Or do we want to remain the same type of people throughout history, throughout his story, instead of rewriting it and make it our story? As Moors, Moroccan Moors, we have the advantage. We have the opportunity to rewrite his story and make it our story. We get the opportunity to say who we are, to say what we represent, and to be the great people that we are. We're great people. That's the reason that we're exploited so much. We exploit it because what? We seem to be so good and kind hearted towards other people, but so cold and harsh many times towards each other. And why is that? Why do we treat each other that way? Why do we go through the hardships of being ostracized to the point that now we ostracize ourselves? The reality is, listen, people, anytime you acknowledge yourself as black, you're ostracizing yourself. And you're probably ostracizing me because I'm saying something about it. Because I'm not traveling the road that's highly traveled by most of us. Because I'm going against the grain. I'm going against the grain when I say why we continue to call ourselves black, because it's popular. Far too often, we many of us are caught up in fads. We're caught up in what's popular. It's popular to take your clothes off now. It's popular to go on stage and shake your butt with your panties on, your panties and bra. It's popular. So now what? Our culture become pop culture? No, it's popular for us. It's not popular for everybody. See, as women, the women are the foundation of the culture. So if America can get our women to degrade themselves and lower their honor and their integrity, then we suffer. We suffer as a nation of people. It's difficult enough for us, you know, just dealing with each other, but we're making it more difficult because many of us are chasing money. Many of us are chasing fame. Many of us want to be validated by people that we should care less whether they validate us. You know, why should we have to lower our higher selves to regain, to gain recognition by people who stole our identity anyway? Stole our identity, stole our lives, and now that we have the opportunity to get it back, many of us still reluctant. We still feel like it's not going to work. It's not the way. When we tried all the other things, we didn't try the marching, we didn't try the voting, we didn't try the protesting. I mean, why not give putting our government back together a try? Why not? What do we have to lose besides a life that has us at the bottom and everybody else looking down on us, and we're looking up at everybody else for the most part? When it comes to hiring our children, when it comes to owning different institutions, why can't we own different institutions, and not just here, not in just in this land, around the world? Why aren't we building with those from Africa? Why aren't we building with those from Haiti? Why aren't we building from those in Britain, those in Canada, wherever, those in China? Why aren't we building? Why aren't we reaching out to those people? Why aren't we doing that? Why do we have to rely on the so-called descendants of those who enslaved our ancestors, those who basically took the land from our ancestors and lied to us and told us that the land didn't belong to us because we were brought here from another land? That's one of them things where I'm saying that many of us need to expand our minds. Need to expand your mind and look at, why was the whole slave thing so important? Why is it so important for you to believe you are African, that you came from Africa, or your descendants came from Africa, so that you don't claim the land that you have a birthright to? This is what's going on. So why do we continue to allow these things to happen? Now we're in a position where we can regain control, but yet what are we doing? We're not we're not making the proper moves to do so. So until next time, I wish you all love, peace, and happiness, and show love the way you want to receive love. Until the next time, I leave you with peace.